What's up, Luka Nation? So today's going to be a little bit of a different episode, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it because it's going to go right along the lines of something that's becoming extremely popular in culture, and that's NFTs. So I have a cousin, a distant cousin, who's in the blockchain space from a B2B standpoint, and we have him on today as a guest. And Cage does an amazing job of not letting him settle for easy surface level answers. And Cage asked some really good questions on today's episode, so I think you're going to really want to stay till the end, because we try to go from what is an NFT, how does blockchain work, what is Bitcoin, explain to a 5-year-old, all the way to some kind of more advanced understanding of NFTs. So I think you're going to really enjoy it. The guest name is Daniel Norkin. He's the CEO of Envision Blockchain Solutions, and I think you're going to really, really, really love today's episode. What's interesting is, coincidentally, today was a huge day for NFT stocks, with one NFT stock going up 277%. So it was completely coincidentally. We had Daniel on yesterday, and today some NFT stocks were booming. And I'll read you a few of them in particular. So the ones that were interesting to me was this stock ticker called TCAT. It's TKAT, Takung Art Company. So it's a Hong Kong-based provider of an online trading platform for art collectors and investors to acquire fractional ownership in Asian and other fine art. Sounds to me like Dibs, right? You get to acquire fractional ownership in Asian and other fine art. No different than how Dibs allows you to acquire fractional ownership in cards, but you still have that tangible card there. So that's super interesting. And that company that's traded on the New York Stock Exchange, that company was up 277% today. Another company that's worth taking a look at, and this is so interesting, I'm trying to blend here for you guys, kind of NFTs when it comes to sports cards. And now NFTs are actually some of the highest daily movers on the stock market. So another one of those is Oriental Culture Holding Limited, OCG, and that's a NASDAQ company. So it's an online provider of collectibles and artwork for e-commerce services. The company's platform brings together collectors, artists, art dealers, and owners to access art trading market. Shares of Oriental Culture were up 79% today. Another marketplace for NFT, artwork, and provider of digital collectibles. So it's super, super interesting. And the last one is IMTG. And I'm not quite sure what they do, but I know that they're considered an NFT stock. And then there's two over-the-counter stocks, Zkin, ZKIN, and Currency Works, CWRK. Why I say this to you, this isn't financial advice by any means. I just find it super interesting to see this crossover of industries, right? NFTs has come to sports cards with Top Shot and digital sports collectibles. But today, at the same time, the market's responding. And what that shows me is, those Gary V NFT appearances on CNBC. NFT is the talk of the town in regular media like CNBC, Fox News, CNN, and digital social media, Twitter, Instagram, and those platforms. And I find that really interesting. And I think what we're seeing is kind of another one of those like Wall Street Bets, Reddit responses, because if you look at all of the companies that I just mentioned, those companies were trading at $500,000 volume a day. And today the volume was 20 to 30x that. And you could just simply pull up a chart. Any of you guys listening to this that have been dabbling into the stock market at all, you clearly see the volume spike today for all of the companies I mentioned: TCAT, TKAT, OCG, and the last one, IMTE. So hope you enjoyed today's episode. It's going to be a little bit different. Please be patient with us. We've heard, people love the sports card segments, and we do those as much as we can, but we also have an obligation to at least share and educate the audience when it comes to NFTs, Top Shot, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I hope you enjoy today's episode. What's blockchain? What's blockchain solutions?
Yeah, so we started a company. It was me and another co-founder. We opened up the company called Envision Blockchain Solutions in the early part of 2018. It was interesting. The way that we opened up is not We're not there to develop the next Ethereum or the next flow or the next protocol, but what we do is we implement those protocols for businesses. So we help out businesses understand, education, what blockchain is, how they can use it. We help them do all sorts of use case ideations, understanding what use cases make sense. Then we move into the development phase to where, we have a team of developers. We help develop custom solutions for what they need. So for that, we look into the protocols that are out there. So we build on Ethereum and some other ones out there, and helping the businesses actually utilize blockchain components in whatever solution that they use. So we've done, a bunch of things in the past couple of years. So it's been fun.
Cage and I got into a bit of a heated argument around early January when we had a guest on called Bro Namath, and his PayPal got shut down for doing a legitimate goods and service transaction. And we were trying to explain to Cage, Ethereum and DeFi and Bitcoin, and I didn't do it justice. He was like, explain it to me like I'm a 10-year-old. I did. He said, well, now explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old. And then I did, and he said, explain it to me like I'm a 2-year-old. Could you take a stab at it? Like for someone, bare basics, rudimentary, how do you explain Bitcoin, Ethereum, and blockchain?
So first of all,
we're not off to a good start, Daniel. We're not, and this is this guy's job here. So yeah. I mean,
well, I'm just trying to put myself into a 5-year-old shoes.
I'm always in a 5-year-old shoes with 5-year-old big feet. But what's funny is I'm glad you asked the question, Andrew, because I have no idea what he just said. The whole explanation of his entire business, Envision, I don't know what he just said. I don't like. It wasn't. Hey,
that's a challenge.
I work at a diner.
It's a real challenge, yeah.
And I flip burgers and I make French fries. Okay, that I get. Or hey, I'm a law firm and we handle cases in court. I get. Telling me that you are going to go to a company and build on the Ethereum, see what format they're doing, see what they need, build a workflow for them on Ethereum, and see how the blockchain will help them. You might as well have told me that you're going to go to a business and, it's a Spanish tutoring company and see whether or not you can teach them Chinese. Like, I don't even understand.
You know how I know that you're just playing around right now? It's because you said the word workflow and I didn't. So know that Ethereum smart contracts are workflow triggers. So I know.
I don't even know.
I know where you're coming from right now.
I don't even know what an Ethereum
he's smarter than me. He got 170 on his LSAT.
No, I did not. Close, but not a 170.
He just plays that role.
Better than me.
I have several degrees, graduate degrees, higher learning. I'm educated, but this stuff to me, here's so the argument that I had with Andrew was pretty easy. It was, okay, blockchain, Bitcoin. I get it, and in the Bro Namath sense, it was an alternate way of paying. He didn't have to have PayPal, who shut him down. It was just they used Bitcoin, they used Ethereum to initiate and finalize a payment transaction.
See, that's the problem right there. That's the problem right there, is that we're using Bitcoin and blockchain in the same sentence. It's a tough thing to swallow. And you're right. When we talk to our customers, it's kind of like Fight Club. The first rule about blockchain is you don't talk about blockchain, because that's going to confuse the hell out of them and they don't want to hear about it. All they want to know is, how are we going to make their business more efficient? That's it. That's all they care about.
So that's a great place to start, right? So without naming it, what kind of business is the last business you worked with? Don't give me the name of the business. I mean, is it a burger joint? Is it a computer? Go ahead.
Yeah. So we just came off of a project, and that was in the finance space.
Okay, so finance. That makes sense to me, because it seems like it's always finance, right?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I just did a webinar last month around what is the best blockchain use case, right? And the best blockchain use cases that we were talking about, you should either be looking at using blockchain for accounting purposes or accountability purposes. That's it.
Okay.
You either accountability need to use it for accounting, or you need to use it for, tracking of ownership and things like that.
So let's use it for accountability, right? Name for me the types of companies that would use blockchain for accountability.
Supply chain.
A supply chain company.
Yeah. So like if you're in supply chain and you need to keep track of parts, I'll give you a good use case, right? This one company that we're working with is in aviation. For example, there's a need for OEM parts, right? So like there's an engine manufacturer, and when the aircraft engine needs to be maintained or fixed, they can only use those parts that are being, made by the original OEM. You can't use a fabricated one or something like that. So for that, we're talking without digital technology, not even blockchain. Just the way that they're using it right now is they have to go through pallets and pallets of paperwork just to find the original manufacturing piece. So what you can use blockchain for is you can then keep track of when the part was born. The use case is called back to birth. So when it's made, it's birthed, it's made. And then as it goes through many hands and yada, 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 you can easily within seconds find that part that you need and order it and get it in, right? So in that case, in that supply chain use case, you can maximize revenue by getting airplanes off the ground. That's one of their metrics. So
so this is what you did there for me. You said, I'm going to go to a burger place and I'm going to tell them how they can get the burger into the hands of the person to eat it. But what you said was, right now what they're doing is they're taking frozen patties.
More. I'm going to change that away. In the restaurant industry, turnover is the important metric, right? So
but I'm just using an example, right?
You need the person to actually eat and leave so that you can get another person in.
Yeah, that's fine. But
you will never
the
get
point is not the point is not the
3 days.
Right. The point is not the restaurant. The point is you answered a question by using the question, right? And you can't do that. You can't say, I'm going to get airplanes off the ground because we're going to track the part using blockchain. What in the hell does that even mean? How do you track a part using blockchain?
The analogy was perfect. I'll explain why, right?
Yeah, please.
In the restaurant industry, okay, I'm just going to use this thing, right? Let's not use the restaurant that is a fast food spot, right? Let's say it's a sit-down restaurant. Perfect. You can only make money based on the tables that you have.
True.
Right?
And you're saying turn those over faster. How does blockchain do that? How does so that's the thing.
So hold on, we're getting there. So in this airplane scenario, okay, the way that these companies make money is by turning a situation that's called airplane on ground, AOG. When airplanes are on the ground, they don't make money. They actually lose money when they're on the ground. You need them actually to be in flight to make money on the airplane. Okay, so like I'm saying that in order to fix an airplane, because an airplane parts need to be fixed all the time. In fact, even if a part isn't broken.
I get it. So the way you're explaining it to me is the step one, we steal all the underwear, and step 3, we make profit. You and I are never going to get to step 2. I get it. I'm fine, Daniel. That's fine with me.
I don't know about the stealing the underwear.
We're never gonna,
you lost me there.
We're going to steal underwear, step 1. And step 3, we're going to make profit. Step 2 is just kind of like it's out there in the ether. We're going to use blockchain.
You're missing the main
step
point.
2.
You're missing
I
the
must
main
be.
point.
I must be.
The main point.
I say that to him quite a bit, by the way, Daniel.
What is that?
I must be.
I say that to him quite often that he's missing it.
No. This is awesome.
Right?
This is awesome.
You guys, well, Andrew, you pretend you know blockchain, but you obviously know it. So you know what it's like? It's like me going and saying to you, "Hey, we're going to go to court, right? And right before trial, I'm going to do an argument motion in limine, and everything's going to be fine, and then the judge will fine for us without ever telling you what that meant in Latin. What is a motion in limine? Yes.
Okay.
And
I'll give you another example.
Retired.
I don't want an example. You had given me the example.
Analogies
you told me,
are how we.
Yeah, but forget about analogies.
Are how we speak.
But both of the analogies, you told me you can use blockchain to maximize revenue, and the one you gave was there's a part, and just like a kitchen appliance, just like anything else, you only have to use specific, manufactured by that particular person, by that particular entity. It's got to be a specific part to use on the plane.
It has
right?
to be,
So
yeah.
so right now, and that's fine. I understand all of this, right? And right now they're using a paper system, all right? They're using a system of paper to track it. Here's where the rubber hits the road, folks. Instead of you coming in and saying, I've built a computer program, I've built we're going to take it off Microsoft Word and we're going to use Google Docs. And
Not
that's going
even
to speed
Microsoft Word.
and that's going to speed it up.
We're taking off of napkins. We're taking off napkins, and we're going to make your search for your part instantaneous.
And great. So it's instantaneous. So somehow blockchain makes it instantaneous. Here's the question. How? You can't just say blockchain makes it instantaneous, so boom. What the hell does that mean? How does blockchain make something instantaneous? Pretend the company you're selling that to doesn't know the answer to that and explain it to them, because right now they're saying, my napkins work fine. I get that you're going to make it work faster, but how is your blockchain better than a napkin? And how am I, an idiot, going to understand that?
First of all, it's not my blockchain. Let's just put it out there. Okay, it's not my blockchain. It's not my product.
It's your program, right? You're coming.
Not my program.
You're selling
my
a program.
So it's the world's program. I've done nothing to build it.
Very good. So
that question is the equivalent of how would your internet help me? It's the same type of question.
It's not my internet either.
Not really.
It's not your internet.
Not my internet.
Exactly. It's the equivalent of that question.
It's the world computer.
Yes, but somebody can explain to me internet, right? Somebody can then tell me, I've never used the internet before. Here's how the internet works.
Here's the key.
Can explain to me what a web page is and that is. But so no one can explain to me. And Andrew, you smile, but you can't explain it either. You've done a shit job explaining it every single time. So this guy, this is his business. His business. Explain it to me.
This data
Sell
that
it to
you
me.
need is available to you 24/7.
Okay. It's 24/7 available. What is available? What?
The data that you need.
What? Okay, but so where is the data? You're taking it off a napkin and putting it where? On the line. Well,
that would be a piece of this, digital transformation process, right? Okay. So of course, you're gonna have to take it off the napkin. You're gonna have to store it into some databases within your company. Okay, so the data sits in your company.
Right.
It's not in the blockchain.
Right.
In fact, here's the part that's gonna make you go nuts. I know it. The data is not even sitting in the blockchain.
Yeah. So the data is in my computer, and I should be able to search it and find it instantaneously without blockchain.
And what you have is sitting in the blockchain, which is available to you 24/7, is a digital representation of that data.
Okay.
That's called.
So I get it. Yeah. I get it. So we finally got to where blockchain comes into the equation. So tell me why, if I have already put the napkin into a computer that I, as a business owner, have 24/7 access to and have searchability within that, why do I then need to go the one step further and put that data on the blockchain?
Because that data only sits in your computer, and real business is when you deal with other businesses at the same time. Blockchain really gave birth when there is a need for, I could use the word decentralized operations, but that might be not like a fifth grader or a 5-year-old. You do business with businesses outside of your business. So if you're just looking for data within your company, you don't need blockchain at all.
Okay. So in my world, I have access to other people's, systems, databases, you name it. I get login. I'm able to log into their stuff.
You name it. Far, because that's going to make a lot of people scared to say that you have access to their database. But
no, I do though. But I'm an authorized user to a database, right? Like I pay for it. I'm an authorized user. You wouldn't really
even get access to that database. You would get permission to use that information that you need. I'm not going to get into the technicals of it, but that hash is your key to getting rid of all that paperwork and getting what you need instantly.
So you are delivering a hash to people that gives 24/7 access to the database that you've had to create also. And that hash allows for a decentralization of that data. So it allows basically the business partners that they have to access that information outside of the company. And that's something only blockchain can do? I don't think so.
That's not something only blockchain could do, because people say that everything blockchain can do, a database could do as well. You can have a database that's sitting in the middle of all these companies. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The issue is that databases have been known to leak information, because then you're trusting a central point, and that central point is the big issue. You don't want to have a central fault, and that's kind of where, we've seen when we're working with our customers. It started out in 2018. Everyone wants their the private blockchain.
Right.
But
okay, so I get that. So now
also,
we're getting to the meat here. We're getting to the meat. We're in the potatoes.
Yeah.
We're getting to the meat. So buzzwords, data breaches.
Data breach.
Right. So you would think that having the, like you say, a leak of that data, how does blockchain prevent that? Is that one of the sales pitches? One of the points that we try to say, by using blockchain, you're going to somehow avoid the data breaches that would otherwise be there on a more database centric system without the blockchain?
There's other things that we like to say. And for example, that we're involved in this new open source platform. It's called the Baseline Protocol. And that's a really neat one. It was launched by Microsoft and EY. The reason I'm talking about that is because it's using all those traditional stuff that you're talking about, which is like, databases and things like that. But now you're including zero knowledge proofs into there, which is a deeper level technology. And again, I'm not trying to get technical on here, but the zero knowledge proofs, when you put that on chain, it allows you to reveal the secrets without giving away what that secret is. And I think that that's a really important step to preventing these data breaches that you were talking about.
So then maybe you could help me with this. I worked at Morgan Stanley Fixed Income, and one of the use cases for blockchain was to get in lieu of clearinghouses, right? So these organizations, they do trades with other parties, and oftentimes they do these trades almost on napkins, right? It's, I want to buy this bond or these assets, okay, and then they deliver the assets in 2, 3, 10, 20 days later. And from my understanding, and again, Cage is right, I understand it conceptually, but not enough to explain it. I understand clearinghouses should be very afraid of blockchain because they could get rid of it. Is that right? Is that a use case that you've discussed? That's finance, right?
I personally haven't got too deep into that. In fact, one of my co-founders is more in tune with the finance side of it. But I know, for example, DTCC, which is a huge clearinghouse in Jersey, they are investigating the use of blockchain, and they're heavy proponents of it as well. So it's a component for sure. It's a component. And I believe that there was some news that was put out, I want to say about a month ago, that the SEC did allow the use of stable coins to act as a settlement layer.
Is USDC a stable coin?
Yeah.
So a stable coin, the way I understand it, it lacks volatility or doesn't have as much volatility?
Well, it's pegged to whatever the fiat is, right?
It's like the USDC tracks the dollar. It pegs the dollar. So it still has volatility, but as much volatility as the dollar has.
That's if the dollar goes down, then I guess the USDC will go down as well.
So if I was to create a book, it would call it, Blockchain for Dummies. You would open it up and it would be Top Shot. Okay. When Cage started dabbling in Top Shot, it was about a day after our Bitcoin argument. He came to me and he said, Andrew, I'm so sorry. I was really rude to you on that podcast, and I apologize.
I don't know if this happened. He's definitely paraphrasing.
Yeah, you know how memory is. One person remembers one thing, one person remembers another. I get it. Thank you for putting me onto this.
Well, I get portions of it, right? Definitely more than I did, right? I definitely get portions of it, right? 100%. That's 100% true. And Flow blockchain is not one that a lot of people use, but I get it, and I get this. Basically, the decentralization of it, the frictionless, at least the potential for frictionless, because I don't know whether I would say Top Shot is frictionless.
I love that, by the way. I personally think that the move of CryptoKitties and other NFTs off of Ethereum is going to do great things for Ethereum in general, personally.
I was reading that the Ethereum tax was a little bit too high. Is that accurate? Like
talking about the gas fees?
Yes, the actual cost of transferring.
Yeah, gas fees are crazy right now. for sure. You know, it's in, and that's what I'm saying, that the network congestion that, for example, CryptoKitties is putting out there, or, you know, all these NFTs, you know, it's like every customer that we're talking to, and all of a sudden Ethereum comes into the conversation. The first question is, so what's being done right now to combat the volatile gas fees? That's like, before anything. Good use case, bad use case, doesn't matter. What about gas fees?
The way I understand gas fees is like a toll booth, right? Miners are essentially the guys running the toll booths. They take a small percentage to verify, okay, you could come into the city. I verified this transfer. Is that the right way to think about it?
You can think of it even simpler. Every transaction needs gas. So anything that you do on blockchain is going to need some sort of gas.
So aren't we just calling friction gas now?
Friction gas? Sure.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that what we're doing? I mean, aren't we just replacing one centralized, you know, middleman with a whole bunch of other middlemen that are charging gas instead of a fee? And I mean, isn't it the same thing, just with different labels? I don't know. Listen, to me, gas fees. I mean, 99% of the people listening to this right now don't know what the hell a gas fee is, but it's a fee. I mean, it's a fee.
It's a fee.
It's like
And also,
PayPal
you
taking
need to drive
2%.
a car. You need to fill it with gas.
Yeah, and if you want PayPal to transfer your money, they take 2%. So why not do that instead of doing it over blockchain? What's better? Is it safer? Is it, you know, I mean, I read an article in January that said there were 122 hacks to the tune of just under $3.8 billion on the blockchain. So 122 hacks. I can tell you which each one of them is if you want. I can find the article.
The majority of them are going to be hacks to like the user interfaces and stuff like that, and wallet hacks.
27 of them were hacks on blockchain wallets, 28 attacks for cryptocurrency exchanges, which were valued at 300 million in losses, and 47 attacks on decentralized apps running on the Ethereum platform with a value of $437 million. I can send you the article if you want. I found it.
The apps are like, I know CryptoKitties is on Flow, but that's an app that runs on Ethereum.
It's an app on there, yeah.
Yep.
Dan,
are
you also an investor in Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the way down the road?
I mean, investor in terms of what, like holding on to it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we all got involved, I think.
And that's a funny thing too, right? Because you're coming on here telling me how the blockchain works, right? There's a gas fee. You know, you could build a better database, right? It's like build a better mousetrap. I get it, right?
I bought coins way before I even learned how it worked.
Right. So, but then there are people buying coins, and what I get on the coins from the investment side is a Bitcoin, you know, and that's not blockchain. The Bitcoin is an altcoin. It's worth what it's worth because somebody's willing to pay for it. That's what Bitcoin.
This was easy for us to, when we first opened up, right? This was the best way that we can start to describe it, right? Because people don't know blockchain, but they know Bitcoin. So that was kind of easy for us to kind of get into it, right? It's like Bitcoin is the first use case of a use of blockchain. It's the cryptocurrency, which is powered by blockchain technology. That was like our catchphrase that we were saying.
The way I understand Bitcoin, and I said this to Cage, and he said, why? And I gave my answer, but I'd love to hear what you said. To me, it's the digital gold hedge for inflation versus the US dollar. It was created in direct proportion to quantitative easing that came from 2008 when the US government bailed out the banks. So I remember I was there. Is that how you see it, or do you see it differently?
I see it just like that. That I don't see Bitcoin as a currency. I see it as a commodity.
So the first question that someone asked, well, it's like, why? Why do you see it like that? But you could also ask that same question about gold, Cage, historically, right? Like, why was gold the hedge versus the US dollar? Well, we all agreed, we didn't really all agree, but we all agreed that it would be a hedge.
Standard, yeah.
The standard is there has to be some sort of market agreement. And I think what you've seen is there is such a market agreement that Bitcoin is the hedge to the US dollar, to the tune that last week when the US government decided to sign off on the $1.9 trillion stimulus bill, Bitcoin skyrocketed 20%, I believe, over 60,000. That's a direct response from the market to something that happened in the US economy.
I think so too. And and you're starting to see a lot more financial institutions bringing BTC into their portfolios, and I think that's really a major indicator right there.
So let's shift gears.
But you guys know that the gold standard is not currently used by any world government, right? Like you say, the gold standard. Like you all know that I'm old, and the gold standard has never been in use in my lifetime. So
Yes,
to say
1976.
1973 was when it was done away with.
My apologies.
So I'm old. I'm not that old. So but so to say, hey, Bitcoin is like the gold standard, it's flawed on multiple fronts. I mean, one, the gold standard is no longer applicable.
I'm not going to go into that debate because I don't know too much about the gold standard and what, but all that I know is that people should be looking at Bitcoin as a storage of wealth.
That I get. But the difference I have, and I mean, the gold, the way he explained it.
That's one way to look at it, right?
Gold has a tangible asset. It's a tangible value. People make jewelry out of it. Like gold's always been like a thing, and I think that's part of the rub. Like it's
you can also say that you want to convert your dollars over to BTC, and then you want to move somewhere else, and then convert that to another fiat. You could do that really easily.
But
what if
you could do it with any? You could do it with any currency as well. So yes, I can see it as another currency, but I don't consider like the rupee or Krugerrand as a commodity. I view it as a currency. So what you just said as far as like intrinsic value of Bitcoin, you're talking about transferring over my US dollars into Bitcoin so that I can go and move it somewhere else. I mean, that's a currency exchange. I mean, those have existed for decades before Bitcoin did.
You're also seeing companies like MicroStrategies and Tesla, offsetting some of their cash reserves right now into Bitcoin too, which I think
and it's smart to do it because people have said Bitcoin is worth what it's worth. I mean, Russell Okung, just to bring it back to our topic of our show, he took his $13 million salary in Bitcoin when it was in the 30s. Mm-hmm. It's now in the 50s, and his $13 million salary is now worth $21 million. And that puts him in the top 30, highest paid players in football, which he wasn't in before he converted to Bitcoin. But that's irrelevant. That's value. That's a valuation, right? And I get that. I get it. But that's a supply and a demand thing. That's my Top Shots are worth $1 million because somebody's willing to pay that for them. Like that's not.
People are just believing that putting your money into Bitcoin is going to make it move in the direction where it's going to move.
And that I'll buy. That analysis, people believe it, therefore it is. But at some point, people believed in GameStop. And at some point, people believed in AMC and their, really old popcorn. I'm sorry, man. People, it's just, and Bitcoin might be a different because it's gotten real traction, and I understand the scarcity of it. I understand, the whole deal behind it, and now you have, almost universal adoption of it. You have PayPal using it, so it has become an alternate form of currency. I get it. I never would have seen it happening, but I get it because now it's been here long enough and it's universally adopted and it's just not going to go away. Whether it maintains its $55,000 valuation or whatever it's at today is a different question entirely. Now, moving out of Bitcoin into blockchain, the thing that I don't get, and maybe it's just because I haven't researched it enough, is how does blockchain take you beyond what normal computing would do? Is it faster? Is it safer? Is it, it's different somehow? And I've never had anybody explain that to me. That's the real, crux of it, right?
That's the rub.
That's it right there, And I mean, look, the bottom line is this, like we said before, anything that you could do a blockchain, you could do with a database, right? So there are faults when you're using database, when you're working across companies. There just is. There's a trust factor. And that's one of the things that blockchain is looking to eliminate. They want to say trustless, right? So it's like, okay, let's just keep things very simple. Let's say that privacy is just not important, right? Let's say that what we want to make sure of is that information that we're going to rely on for our business is something that can't be modified, just at that very simple fact. That's something that you would want to look into using blockchain technology for. Very simple.
Let me throw you something your way. Let's have a little riff here. There was a time where people said, why would I need a car? My horse can do that. And then they said, well, Your horse can't go to 35 miles across town to get the best milk. You're like, why would I go 35 miles across town? What do you have to say about that, Mr. Cage?
So you're 100% right. And what somebody did was they created a car that could go further than a horse. They created and they explained, hey, by the way, here's my car. I've put a gas tank in it. It runs on this kind of fuel. It's cheaper and more reliable than a horse. Here are the three things that this car can now do better than a horse. If I'm hearing blockchain can do, there's not anything a blockchain can do that a database can't do, then I think really what I'm waiting to hear is, what can it do better? What can it do differently? Now, some of what Daniel just said strikes home, because if you have something that you don't want altered, see, one of the flaws of a database is if it's something that's stored in-house with one company, but other companies are going to rely on it, those other companies also have to rely that the one company that's housing it is not altering it or modifying it in any way. By putting it on the blockchain, it's trustless. And the reason why it's trustless is because everybody has access to that same stuff. So nobody has the ability to alter it, right? So there you go. In certain industries, I could see chain of custody wise, where you want to have, I'd see where you want to have that on something that is shareable by all the companies involved and not housed by one. I could see it.
So like contracts.
Well, contracts, everybody will have a copy of it, but yes, I mean, I would think something bigger.
Contracts is one way to look at it, but then there's other uses too. Like, for example, oracles are really important, right? So guaranteeing that,
like the Southern Oracle.
Like what?
The Southern Oracle. That's my favorite Oracle.
I don't know what the Southern Oracle is.
Well, you would if you had to go through trials to reach it. If you had to go through the Sphinx, who could see right through you. If you had to go visit Morla, the Ancient One. Okay. Dude, I'm so old. You ever heard of the movie The Never-Ending Story?
Yes.
So at the end, they go to the Southern Oracle.
With the flying dog.
It's actually a luck dragon that looks like a dog. Its name was Falcor. But yes, it was a luck dragon. But anyway, the Southern Oracle.
You're freakishly frustrating, Cage.
The Southern Oracle, man, because they're talking to me about oracles.
Yeah. So an oracle is an on-chain feed, right? Chainlink. I'm sure you guys heard of Chainlink, right?
I've heard it's a good investment, but I don't know a single thing about it.
Who told you it was a good investment?
The internet.
This guy told you. Yes. This guy told you about Chainlink. Yes, the guy you make fun of is the one who told you about Chainlink.
So like Chainlink is cool, right? Because it's putting, I'm going to use the term on chain, right? So this is like on the blockchain, right? So it provides these feeds of real life information that happens on chain. So going back to, the workflows that you mentioned earlier, that I love that you mentioned the workflows. If you need workflows to trigger off of a specific real event that happens, maybe it's the score of the Lakers game. Maybe it's the price of BTC. Maybe it's a real life thing that happens and you need a feed that comes into there that makes an automated action happen. And you don't want that automated action to be running off of an invalid, not trustable source. That's another use case. And this is why we think that Chainlink is pretty cool.
So let's
Chainlink fences are usually bad. It's usually a bad neighborhood.
Yeah, you can cut those down. Those are not immutable, my friend.
And you showed us your binder of cards. So are you back into collecting cards? Have you just been seeing, all of these record sales? I know most of us, we collected when we were kids.
No, I told you that I lost it, but it turns out that I found some of my collection. It was in my house all along.
Anything good in there? Did you look through it?
I have no idea. I don't have any Beckett's or anything.
You don't have any?
I love it. I love it because the blockchain guy who's bringing everything to the future says he doesn't have a Beckett. I love it. That's like me. That's like me talking about blockchain. That's like me.
And to be honest with you, I was looking through some of these cards and some of them are cool, but I have no idea how I would even find the price of some of these things.
How old are you? How old are you, out of curiosity?
36.
Yeah, he's definitely in his mid-30s. If he's saying, I don't have a Beckett. Because Beckett, man, that was the thing.
1986, you were born.
1984.
1984.
Yeah.
Andrew does math, folks.
So you probably have like a lot of 90s, 95.
I have a whole bunch of cards. I'm looking at a Irvin Johnson from Fleer 91.
Ooh, a little magic.
I have some Magic Johnson cards I'm looking at. I have some Otis Thorpe.
OT from the Rockets.
I have some Mitch Richmond, you know what I'm saying? Some
Richmond
Divac.
from the Kings. That was the Kings team we were talking about before Weber came in.
I have over here a Detroit Pistons Dennis Rodman.
Wow. Let's go.
You know, I have a Kobe card too.
Stop it.
I had a Kobe rookie card. I don't know where that went though. I have a bunch of Jordan cards.
It's in really great shape. It's in a case with a 10 on it. It refracts light. Wait, so
I have some classics here.
Is that why they're called refractors, Cage?
I have a Pat.
Are you asking me that question for real?
I have a Pat Riley coach.
Yes, that's why they're called refractors.
Well, the top's chrome is shiny too. It in theory refracts light as well.
Right, but have you ever put the prism itself? Have you ever put light through a prism? It refracts through. No, forget it. I'm not even. This is like.
I'm still going over here. I have a Joe Dumars.
This guy, he's like, look at me. I got great cards.
I haven't looked at these cards.
I got a Kevin Willis.
I don't think you understand that.
Muggsy Bogues.
I have a Muggsy Bogues card in here.
The first time you go through your old cards, it's like a trip down memory lane.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I haven't looked at these cards since I was collecting them back in the 90s. I have a Steve Kerr over here. This is awesome, man.
That guy's a coach.
I know. Latrell Sprewell over here.
Latrell.
Well, that's after 91. That's after 91 because Sprewell didn't come into the league until 93.
So. I have
Van Exel's 94.
Yes.
93, 94 draft class. So you got to get multi-years.
I've never owned a refractor cage. So
shut up. Yes, you have.
No, I haven't. So are you on Top Shot then?
No. You know what? I looked at it the other day and all the packs were sold out at the time. And I was like, this is some bullshit.
We got on the last week while you could just get whatever packs you wanted.
I was like, how are digital cards sold out? What happened here? Can't they just make more?
Panini ones aren't. The Panini ones aren't sold out at all.
Soon enough. Soon they'll have packs all the time. And then we'll see what happens to the value.
You guys see the Rob Gronkowski NFT that was just sold?
Yep. Millions of dollars for a 5-card set, right?
$432,000.
For the one. 432 for the one of one. And what's cool about that is he attached like go to a game with him and like go on stage at one of his concerts with him to the one person who bought that one for 432. But the set, the one that there were multiples of, sold for over $1 million, which is pretty cool, man.
You definitely need blockchain for that, let me tell you.
Yeah, but it's like blockchain for the sake of having blockchain.
No, I'm just.
You know what I mean? Because NFTs, right? I mean,
I'm just joking.
So I'll put you out there. Someone who's an expert in the industry, someone who's an expert in blockchain, someone who has made a living out of this. This is your company. Tell me about the recent, NFT craze, right? Do you think this is sustainable? Do you think we're going to have an NFT bubble? Do you think people are smart to put their money in it, dabble in it? Do you see, a real benefit to it?
I think it's funny, and this is something that I was telling.
Ooh, that's good.
I was telling your father this a week ago, right? If I can bring this.
Talking about my father.
Okay, good, because I didn't know this guy could talk
Igor
to the dead. If you could do that through blockchain, that would be great.
Igor is not my dad.
So look at this over here. Yeah, I'm showing you. So my company, right, we sponsored this conference last year. It was called the NFT.NYC conference. They had speakers from all sorts of like gaming and sports. Nike was there. We spoke together with Umbanco Itaú. It's a bank down in Brazil. We spoke on a panel with them, bank in Brazil, and Microsoft as well. We had this thing over here. You like scanned his badge. You scanned his badge. It gives. We were gonna give everyone what's it called, like a token workshop, so people can go ahead and learn how to build their own tokens and define them. What's interesting is this, right? Is so there's two different types of tokens that exist in the world. There's fungible and non-fungible. right? So fungible tokens are like Bitcoin, Ethereum. There's other stuff too, but just money is the easiest thing to understand on what's fungible. If you have a dollar, you don't care if I trade you my dollar. It's the same thing. A dollar is a dollar is a dollar.
Yep.
Non-fungible
It's more fun than like a $10 bill is more fun than a $1 bill, right?
It's more fun, Jibble. But it's funny though, right? Because you have 10 like a $10 bill, but theoretically you would be okay if I gave you 10 singles. It's interchangeable. It's fractional and all that stuff. So what's interesting is that non-fungible tokens brings a unique property, right? So it's like one cannot be interchanged with another. That's one of the core principles of what a non-fungible token is. All of a sudden, in this past couple months, everybody thinks that non-fungible tokens is art or something like that. So it's like I drew a picture. That's a this is everything that a non-fungible token is, and there's just
I'll draw a polite platypus on my piece of paper, post it on Twitter, and now that's an NFT.
Don't you blaspheme! Don't you blaspheme, Gary V.
Or
that is your deity. Don't say anything bad about him.
Or a kind kangaroo, right? That's a non-fungible token.
So it is. That's like a type of non-fungible token. But like I'm on TikTok or something like that, and I'll see people say digital art is NFTs, or like NFTs are digital art, and it's like, look, I'm all for making money, right? So it's like that's just what's happening. So it's like OpenSea and Mintable and Rarible, they're providing a marketplace for people to sell their stuff and get money. So it's like with that thing, I'm never going to get mad at somebody for looking to get money, but it's just like from our perspective, it's getting a little bit silly. It's getting a little bit out of hand, and I think that like for example, I'm doing a webinar this month talking about enterprise NFTs. So for example, an identity is also an NFT, right? Because it's one driver's license. It's one thing that's not interchangeable with anything else. It only has one owner. A natural gemstone, like a diamond, that's also an NFT because no two diamonds are alike.
A snowflake or a star.
A snowflake.
It will be NFTs.
A snowflake.
And I'm not talking about some of the people who are listening to this right now. Snowflakes. I'm talking about real snowflakes, guys.
Not those snowflakes, like the ones that fall from the sky. Yeah. So I mean, like those over there are I mean, yeah, snowflakes are NFTs. So I mean, like that's what I think about it. I think that they're like NFT is as a whole, there's a real good use for them, and there's practical uses. As far as all the digital art, I mean, awesome. I love the fact that people are making money,
By the way, that sentence right there, I think, is the basis of all of this stuff and the explosion of all of it. That the crew that believes in all this blockchain and the whole deal, they don't begrudge anyone their money. And they're all about new ways to create wealth and new ways to create money. So you just say, hey, look, digital art, go right ahead. Here you go.
That's not true. That's not true. Like when we were first starting and we were trying to get deals, you have really two different types of people. You have the blockchain companies that were only talking about public blockchain, like only talking about blockchain. Like, oh, if you're going to do something, it has to be on Ethereum. It has to be on, you have to look at a public blockchain. There's others out there as well, because that's like the true, idealism and the true decentralized, form. And that's really where you get the most value from it. But then there's others that are like, look, we want to just tell people that we're doing blockchain, but we're going to do it in a private blockchain.
Right.
And we saw that still had merit, because that was like a stepping stone for people to realize exactly how private blockchain just didn't work. I mean, it was like the first sets of proof of concepts, if you will.
Yep. Well, I get it. I guess what I'm talking about is like adoption of it, universal absorption, a generation that has switched away from the dollar and moved into altcoins. I think the backbone behind it is because they kind of just saying to themselves as a group, we don't have to get rich the way that you old fogies and old heads like you, Cage, are telling us we have to get rich. We don't have to go out there. DeFi
is crazy.
Yep.
DeFi's crazy. You try telling someone that has a savings account for a long time with I don't know, Citibank or TD Bank or something like that, and they're making less than 1%, and you have something like BlockFi that's giving you 8% on your USDC. I mean, this is huge. You know,
I'm gonna have to look that up because I might have some USDC soon. And you're right about the Citibank account. I'm pretty sure the last time I checked this, the savings was like 0.1%. So I'm with you. No on the USDC. You're just saying I'm never gonna get it.
I'm in talks with Dapper so that they will never allow it.
Well, listen, you need to sing then. I need En Vogue. Never gonna get it. I need it from you. Go sing it. Not this time. Sing it, Andrew.
You know what's
you're never gonna get it. You're not gonna sing. Come on, man.
Everyone we've had on has been like eccentric. You know, this is the next thing. This is gonna be the best thing. It's gonna change the world. And then there's people like us, you know, depending on the day, we wake up very cynical or very eccentric. We're like, this is the best thing, or this is going to collapse in a day. Daniel's very pragmatic. Have you noticed that?
He has answered all of my questions, however silly they may be.
Well, I'm pragmatic, you're saying?
I feel slightly more educated than I did when we started.
I'm extremely pragmatic because that's who my customers are, right? It's like we have to be pragmatic in order to sell emerging technology. It's like you gotta have kind of like a mixture of the both, you know, and that's kind of where we're at right now. I mean,
you got to meet people where they are, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that's why you were so open to Cage's cross testimony today.
Cross-examination.
Those are great. He was being polite. You should hear some of the conversations that we get into. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, I'm doing it out of trying to learn, right?
Want to hear a funny story?
No,
real life story.
Yes, go for it.
Real life story. This is why we want to use a public blockchain, right? There was this customer that we had, and we were doing a proof of concept at this one time, and I'm just trying to figure out how to tell this, right? So essentially it goes like this, right? They want to show this to their CEO. It's a Fortune 1000 company. They want to go ahead and they want to, you know, show this to their CEO. After some time and playing around, and we keep telling them, like, hey guys, look, like, be careful what you write, because everything that you write, it cannot get changed in there, right? And they were just showing certain things that can happen. Friday night, I get a call right before the presentation to the CEO, internal thing. He said, hey, Dan, are you sure we can't delete any of this stuff? Because we have this person, they decided to write some funny remarks about leadership, and now we're embarrassed to go ahead and show this over to the CEO. I was like, listen, here's the perfect example of why you shouldn't be using a private blockchain. I said, yeah, all you have to do is delete the nodes and spin them back up, and you have yourself a, you know, blank slate all over again. Oh, okay, thanks. But, you know, in a real world, when you're using a public blockchain, you wouldn't be able to just delete the information. So let's fast forward into something that's in production, something that's not of a POC when we're just writing funny things about our bosses. Business decisions are being, you know, made off of the information. It's actually hitting the ledger. You don't want a company to just go ahead and just delete all the nodes. And if it's a private blockchain, what is it, 10 nodes in the network, something like that? All 10 nodes go down, and all of a sudden now it goes back up, and who could tell the difference? So, you know, that's some of the things, right? And as a pragmatist, you have to go through these exercises and have people feel the pain to understand where the real benefits are.
I like it.
All above Cage's head right there.
No, I understand it at all. I understand the whole deal of it, right? I mean, the point being that you can't cook the books, right? You know, there's a very big difference between private and public, and you know, you'd be able to hide what you wanted to hide on the private side, and on the public side, you can't. It's there. You know, it's not housed on something private that you're able to just basically wipe clean. So I get it. So just taking it one step forward, right? It's do you see a reason why sports cards should be digitalized and tokenized? Do you think this is just a fad? Do you think, like the art, you think people are just kind of capitalizing on the fact that it is a buzzword now? You see any reason why, collectibles like that should be on blockchain, should be on, whether it's Flow, Ethereum, or whoever else is going to be building it? Or do you really think that it's just a situation where that is what's hot right now, so people are making a cash grab for it?
I would personally love if all of my cards were on blockchain.
Okay, why?
Because I lost like 75% of them.
So doesn't that though ask and beg the next question, which is the reason why people's cards are worth money is because 75% of them got lost. And part of what we're dealing with in any collectible is scarcity. I mean, now I guess the blockchain portion of it has to create some sort of artificial scarcity, by serial numbers or that kind of thing,
I think it's the same thing. That's exactly the point. Scarcity is that. So it doesn't matter if it's scarcity in terms of the paper that was printed or it's scarcity within the collectible. See, it has to be backed by something. So if the NBA wants to go ahead and back their, Top Shot, then that's what it is, right? It's like at the cards I was looking at, what is it, like Fleer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Fleer was backing the fact that they're not going to print more of these Kobe cards, so it's like it has to be backed by something. If these NFTs, if these basketball cards or these digital arts or these crypto kitties or all these things, if they're not backed by anything, it's meaningless. It's got to be backed.
What do you mean backed by? So let's
put it this way. The three of us could right now go ahead and create an NFT right now. It just launched on Ethereum. It's nothing. It's just a 721, right? It's a 721 smart contract. That's it, right? Easy, done. But who's to say that's what that is? Like just because, right? I can go ahead and I can put up an ERC 721 of my house right now. But what if I transferred that token over to somebody else, does that mean that they own my house? It's not backed by any contract. It's not backed by any sort of a real estate agent or like a white card or something like that. Not at all. We all can create tokens. It's easy, but it has to be backed by something.
Hey, I get it.
It's backed by a brand, Cage.
It's got to be backed by a brand for sure.
Let me ask you this. So there's this application called Dibs, okay, where you actually send a physical card in and they tokenize that card. I'm still here, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So Dibs is an application where you send in a real card and they tokenize that card. So it's backed by a tangible item.
They laminate it for you.
Huh?
It's like they laminate it for you.
Yeah. And Top Shot, on the other hand, has no tangible asset. It's a video. Which one do you feel is the future? Is it both? Cage, did I ask that right? Should I elaborate at all on the question? Why are you making
No, I'm watching myself play Pac-Man. No, okay. So it is a valid question. I don't know whether either of them survive, but there are different ways of doing it. What Andrew was saying is right now you have NFTs that have no tangible asset that they're tied to.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about it. I see it for two different purposes completely. One is a collectible, and the other one is for you to store it so that you don't lose it as a binder.
But okay. The other one, send my Kevin Durant Topps Chrome to Dibs. What is that backed by, right? So in the previous example, the NFT was backed by NBA, the brand of NBA. What is the Topps Chrome Kevin Durant backed?
Does Dibs allow you to trade it with other Dibs?
Yes, and it's oftentimes 50 to 100% more than just the regular card, if that makes sense. So like, let's say a Topps Chrome Kevin Durant is...
Sure, because it has the gas fee bundled into that.
So, but that is the fun. That's the potential for a bubble here, because what's gone on now is if you say Top Shot is an NFT with no tangible asset, but it still has value as an NFT, well, then what Dibs would tell you is there should be worth more because they're creating an NFT, which should have a value all of its own, because it just like Top Shot, it's just a digital, non-tangible asset, but it's actually tied to a piece of
What does that
a
mean?
tangible asset.
So like if you traded with someone, are you gonna, like you traded online and you transfer it one token from your MetaMask to their MetaMask, does that mean that you also have to send them the physical card too?
No, but I think if you bought all of the shares of it, you could potentially get the physical card.
But you've bought the card, or you've invested in a card for double the price that you could have invested on eBay.
So even though it's silly that you'd be buying it for twice as much, you would have a tangible asset that you then
You send that card to Dibs?
Yes.
Someone does, yes.
So then Dibs is acting as a vault then at the same time too.
That is correct.
So that's like an escrow service for cards.
And then tokenizing on top of it. So when you buy a share of it, Andrew, I guess that what they would tell you, and maybe we'll have to have Dibs on, is your share gets you half of what you're buying is the portion of the card, and the other half is the tokenized digital asset version of the card as well.
New business revenue. There you go.
It's like buying a cake for $20, or I buy a cake and I cut it into slices and sell it.
I hate that cake. I hate that cake shit.
You know what would be cool with Top Shot is because it is a video. Imagine you get like a really, really cool highlight, and that highlight then is played on ESPN and all over the place. You should get that royalty because you own it.
That would make a whole lot of sense, but that has nothing to do with what they're doing. That is not it
it's licensed by the NBA, so come on, do it. You know,
and the whole part of that
people get some royalty rights for owning that video. You know what I'm saying?
And it's implementable, right? So like, you know who owns that moment. You can just send to that same wallet a royalty, right?
So that's another benefit of the use of blockchain, where you have these micropayments. So for example, if you have that code written into a smart contract, and you know that wallet address of who owns that video, and ESPN is also, you know, subscribed to that smart contract, or whatever you want to say, however you want to use it, and whenever that's played, they should get that royalty right. It would be instant payment. You wouldn't have to wait for the
You go tell Top Shot. That's it. That's what we need now. I need a royalty on my LeBron moment. Let's go.
Right now, I'm working on getting you withdrawal access after your malfeasance and poor behavior.
Dude, I'll work on that. They're ready. They promised me every week I'm going to get withdrawals. I don't even worry about that.
You know, they're like Cage. You know, Cage is an NFT. He's one of one, but why is there 6 or other Cage?
I am going to tokenize myself, but there's only going to be one token, and I'm going to own it.
Which card do you have?
For Top Shot?
Yeah.
I have way too many. too many to name. But I have a lot less than I had a couple weeks ago. I mean, if you asked me that in the beginning of February, I would have told you I have well over 3,000 of them, but I've been consolidating it.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go. This is another cool thing about. So there's these like apps that sit on top of the blockchain. This is called Evaluate.market. It shows you all of the sales in a day, and you could go to account value and go to Cage a Lawyer. And you could see all of the moments in his wallet. So I basically could go into his wallet and take all his $100 bills. That's what I
Way to go.
This was one day after he yelled at me and really hurt my feelings about the Bitcoin argument. He decided, it was like, I'm just going to invest in Top Shot.
But give me credit.
What did you do? Did you pick these up one by one, or did you just get these in packs?
Those there, anyone that you see green means I purchased it on the marketplace.
Cool.
If it was something bought on a pack, then it would say pack. But Andrew, you have to give me credit. Who was the first person I called when I thought this was going to be a winner?
Your wife.
No, dude. You. And, you know, it's not my fault you didn't jump in with 2 feet. You know, some of us.
I don't have a credit line that's to the max.
You gotta do it, man. You gotta get some more credit. Special gambler credit line. But yeah, man, it is what it is. But I appreciate it, man. I'm gonna jump off. This has been educational, and you know, the best part of it is you didn't say the NFTs are all a passing fad. You didn't say, "Oh, this is all a bubble that's going to burst." I mean, you know, which you could have.
But I didn't want to hurt your feelings.
It really will.
NFTs, 99% are not going to pass. Whether or not Top Shot is going to make it or Dibs, I don't know. Those are just business models. You know what I mean? But NFTs is a type of token. that's here. You know?
Yep.
I think NFT investments, a lot of people are going to lose money, but NFT is not going anywhere. It's like a new invention.
No, it's not. It's a non-fungible token. It's been around for a very long time. You know,
How long? Since 2008.
No, tokens are something that's been even before blockchain. I mean, when you give somebody access to Facebook or something like that, that's like I'm not using the right term, but that's like a bearer token. So that's like a specific identity that gives you access to something, right? Tokens are something that's been around for a very long time.
Yeah, man. I used to use them to get on the Staten Island ferry.
There you go.
So they've been around for a long time. I used to use them on the
Arcade
subway,
or
Andrew.
whatever. It's the
Arcade
same
tokens.
thing.
Tokens, you know, I mean, tokens been around for a long time.
They're just digital. That's all.
It's the fungibility of them that makes them special, or lack thereof.
Non-fungibility.
Well, this is good. This is a one of one. This is going to be good. I think our community is going to like this. Thank you for rolling with Page's punches and jabs and uppercuts and kicks in the nuts. You avoided all of the hits.
Dude, I kicked you in the nuts. I didn't kick Daniel in the nuts at all.
Hardly.
So Daniel, before we wrap, just tell people where they can find your business. Tell people where they can find you, online. Tell people where they can look you up. There are people out there who are creating businesses. There are people out there in the sports card world and outside who are, going to try to tokenize their business. They're going to try to use the blockchain for what they're doing as well. So tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, no, it's easy. If you want to get in touch with us about blockchain services, or you want to just talk about tokens, or you need some education, feel free to go to our website, www.envisionblockchain.com. There's a contact us section that goes right to us, and more than happy to hear from everyone.
Yeah. Awesome. Andrew, shall we let our friend go? You have any parting words, any parting gifts?
Good. How are we related again?
Good.
Good. Good. I believe it is, again, it's a cousins from my grandfather's side.
From Egid? Should we bring on Egid as a project manager for us? We're a disorganized mess.
So
yeah.
Daniel's explaining to you that he's your Irish uncle.
Yeah, something like that. So like we're like, I want to say we're like third cousins.
Nice.
We're like third cousins, something along those lines.
How's life?
Nice.
How's business? Are you happy? Are you living well? Is there anything we could help you with? Are you living in the city?
No, I'm in New Jersey right now. Yeah, no, I'm living good. I mean, we've been pretty good under the circumstances here with COVID. Everyone's healthy, everyone's happy. We have 2 daughters, me and my wife, we have 2 daughters, and they're both doing in-person school. So that's been good,
Nice.
Real bad.
What part of Jersey?
Northern Jersey, up Stanhope area.
Okay. Yeah, that is northern. That's not as far up as the Delaware Water Gap, but
Where are you?
Where are you looking? I'm in Long Island, so no? I know Jersey pretty well. Though I lived in Staten Island. Used to go to Jersey all the time. Played more Central Jersey Pop Warner football when I was a kid, but you got to drive through Jersey. I used to go to school upstate for college, so I got family not as north as you, but I have family in Denville. We get friends in Rockaway, so that's not exactly north, but it's northern Jersey.
15 minutes away from me.
Yep. So
what school did you play for?
Dover. No, my school didn't even have a football team. I put in the SUNY Binghamton.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you said that you played like in college or something.
Pop Warner. As a kid,
Pop Warner. Okay.
Played in Central Jersey, Pop Warner.
Gotcha.
Like Piscataway, and Roselle. Sayerwood South, like those areas of Jersey. Different part of Jersey than where you are.
Sure.
More central.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, this was fun. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm gonna go get some dinner.
Sounds good. Same over here. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good night, guys.